The first part is about company background. Sarawak Oil Palms Berhad was formed in 1968, and the company now has over 122,000 hectares of land and has 88,000 hectares of oil palm trees in Sarawak, Malaysia.
The next part is about economic and business environment analysis. The first analysis is about SWOT. And the SOPB is one of the Malaysia's leading publicly listed plantation company. SOPB is committed to safeguarding the plantation's long-term survival through best practice. SOPB has a divergent range of products and strong financial performance over these 20 years with great reputation. Besides, they have a very good connection with the government and other stakeholders. SOPB's weaknesses are SOPB's brand image has been harmed by the company's minimal legal exposure. SOPB's weakness is its substandard road infrastructure. And the SOPB's opportunities are one of it is to expand globally as the whole world is depending on the palm oil production of Malaysia. Second one is SOPB plantation looks to gain from the growing demand of crude palm oil. And SOPB Energy and Utilities launched a new environmental strategy by introducing renewable energy into the market. About the T, SOPB faces strong competition, and SOPB is a global company, so subject to currency exchange rate fluctuations and becoming unstable. And the government actions may adversely affect SOPB's business activities. Next one is PESTLE analysis. First about the P. SOPB has a good relationship between the governments and the political parts. And about the economic, the price of crude oil and the fluctuation in the price of new materials are the two most significant economic variables affecting SOPB's operations. About the social, SOPB views it as a corporate responsibility to its employees, customers, partners, and other stakeholders, as well as to society at large. And the technology. Using this information, establishing entry barriers, minimum production levels, and extra control over outsourcing decisions. Technological advancements has the capacity to impact all three of these elements as well as generate new ideas. And the legal. There are some facing legal issues in land purchasing and land ownership. Besides, in 2017, a sum of $3.55 million is creating issue for them. The last one is environmental. Palm oil Berhad is causing trouble to forest and wildlife.
The vertical and horizontal analysis together with the ratio analysis were conducted in this chapter based on the company's performance from 2018 to 2020. As shown in this table, the group's assets, liabilities, and equity totaled Rm 4,126 million as of December 31st, 2018, with Rm 1,875.2 million in liabilities and Rm 2,250.8 million in equity. The gross gearing ratio of the group has decreased from Rm 1,412.9 million to Rm 1,279.9 million as a result of loan repayments and changes in trade financing. 2017, 0.64. The amount changed comparing to the previous fiscal year is Rm 4,126. RM 4,289.6 equals to RM 163.6, and the percentage change is negative 0.038. As shown in this table, in the year of 2019, the company had total assets and liabilities in RM 4,182.3 million and RM 1,867.2 million. The total equity stood at the point of RM 2,315.1 million. The gross gearing thus was calculated 0.54 times. The amount changed comparing to the previous fiscal year is RM 4,182.3. RM 4,126 equals to RM 57.3, and the percentage change is 0.014. As shown in this table, the company's total assets and liabilities were RM 4,258 million and RM 1,755 million as of the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2020. RM 2,503 million in total equity and a gross gearing ratio of 0.44 times were the company's assets. The amount changed comparing to the previous fiscal year is RM 4,258. RM 4,182.3 equals to RM 75.7, and the percentage change is 0.018. In summary, from the results of the horizontal analysis, we can understand that there was a significant drop in the financial performance of the company in 2018. But there is a slowly returning from 2019 onwards till the end of fiscal year of 2020. With vertical analysis, one can see the relevant proportions of account balances in financial statements for a single reporting period. If we want to see how accounts have changed over the course of a few years, vertical analysis is a great tool to be utilized. This table presents a summary of the company's financial position from 2018 to 2020. In the year of 2018, the non-current asset occupied 69.24%, whereas the current asset occupied 30.76% of the total asset. In the aspects of the equity, the reserves have 58.76% followed by share capital, 36.43%, and 4.81% of non-controlling interests. Lastly, the liability is comprised by currents and non-currents, which respectively has 40.44% and 59.56% of the total liability in the fiscal year of 2018. In the year of 2019, the non-current asset dropped to 68.84%, whereas the current asset occupied increasingly to 31.16% of the total asset. In the aspects of the equity, the reserves have 59.75%, followed by share capital, 35.42%, and 4.84% of non-controlling interests. Lastly, the liability is comprised by currents and non-currents, which respectively has 36.96% decreased and 63.04% increased of the total liability in the fiscal year of 2019. In 2020, the non-current asset dropped to 65.95%, whereas the current asset occupied increasingly to 34.05% of the total asset. In the aspects of the equity, the reserves have 61.58% followed by shared capital, 32.80%, and 5.62% of non-controlling interests. Lastly, the liability is comprised by currents and non-currents, which respectively has 37.72% increased and 62.28% decreased of the total liability in this particular fiscal year.
Hello, I'm Tian SiYuan. Just now, my partner YouHan has introduced the horizontal and the vertical analysis of finance. Now I'll share the ratio analysis, findings, and the recommendations of SOPB company finance. Short-term debt servicing capacity is assessed by using a company's current or quick assets. In this report, we used the interest coverage ratio to measure how many times a company can pay its current interest payments. This further reflects how much profit the company can generate. So we selected SOPB's financial statements from 2018
2080 to 2020 for analysis. First, calculate the company's current ratio for the 3 years and find that each fiscal year has an upward trend. Second, the interest coverage ratio is calculated. It can be seen from the data that the company's interest coverage rate has kept increasing in every fiscal year from 2080 to 2020, especially in 2020, the figure is twice that of 2019. Then we calculated the ROA and ROE of the company. Both indicators showed a downward trend over 3 fiscal years. Both while the company's return on equity continues to fall, it remains strong and healthy because it is greater than 1. Next are findings and recommendations. Based on the results of the business, environmental, and financial analysis, we can notice that SOPB has kept increased its financial performance regarding the current business environmental it involves in. There is no doubt that the liquidity of the company keeps improving since the current ratio keeps increasing year by year since 2080, and the ability to cover long-term debt is also improving due to the increase on the interest coverage ratio from 2080 to 2020. Therefore, there are few recommendations proposed. First, due to the high current ratio, the company can perform its business in higher risks, means that they can plan for more investment in both local and international markets. On top of that, the company should also consider increasing the investment on technologies, since it has a strong ROE, with the potential chance from the emerging technologies. The business of SOPB is facing long-term challenges in technology improvement. The technological use of environment-friendly techniques such as leather cutting drone should be considered implementing regarding the sustainability of the business in long term. So the plan for technology investment should be considered ready as earlier as possible. That's on my part. Thank you, Pastor Liao JingMing.
Based on the recommendation given in the previous chapter, we came up with implementation plan for the company. First of all, the global expansion plan for the company going globally could benefit the profitability of the company in a long run. In this case, a thorough investigation on the global market should be conducted to statistically investigate the business environment in target country. Also, the investigation on the global competitors should also conduct to understand the competitive advantage of the company with the compete with rival in another country, and then the document should then outline the detailed strategy of the global business plan, strictly in accordance with local regulations. Next, in order to improve the profitability, company can consider collaborating with other business entities. First, the company must consider and identify its role in the chain collaboration and make the proposal according to the affiliation mode. In the collaboration with the NGOs, the company can be benefits with such production chain in both local and international oil plantation and the production industries. Next, another plan for the technology improvement should start with a detailed analysis on the value of the new technology investment. SOPB should consider whether they should acquire the technology or invest their own R&D to carry out the investment plan. However, the use of drone technology should consider the impact of legal restriction, such as the prohibition of the related laws in Malaysia, even though the investment on the acquisition could save the importance of technology autonomy for the industry giant like SOPB. Therefore, the system development using SDLC, System Development Life Cycle, including the design, development, data transferring, testing, and implementation, are the following steps before going to the live version. The user acceptance test could be used to evaluate the system development and keep refining the system in the future. That's all. Thank you for your watching.